Lovely. Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this Bradford Shipley Route Improvement Scheme consultation webinar. You might have heard that this session is being recorded, and we're going to do that. And so for people who can't make it and couldn't make the other one, can catch up when we post the recording on the Your Voice website. So just to say, just for GDPR purposes, I'm leaving people's attendees' cameras off, so we can post it later, and then people are free just to ask their questions as well. They're not worried about it being recorded or anything like that. So people feel free to put in their questions. So without further ado, this is the bit where I try and share my screen and I see if it actually works. So here we go. I will share my screen there and then press slideshow, if I can find that. There we go, from the beginning. So hopefully you can all see this. The front cover there on the, here we are, 13th of August, 2021. So if I get started, and just to say yes, thank you everybody for joining us. I'll whiz through what to expect from tonight's session. This is the consultation seeking views on the proposals between Shipley and Bradford City Centre. And really do appreciate people joining us today because your feedback helps us shape the next round of the plans, because we're very much at the beginning stages of this. So this is really helpful. Thank you. As I say, this webinar is being recorded and will be made available on the Your Voice page later. It'll be a YouTube link, so for people who miss it can catch up, or if somebody wants to watch it again, if they've forgotten something, it can absolutely do that as well. Because it's so you feel free to ask your questions as it's being recorded. We're going to use the Q&A box. So hopefully you can find the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, it should be. And if you want to do what is quite useful sometimes is you can use the arrow that's underneath the X, I think it'll be on your Zoom screen. That helps to merge the Q&A box to your window. So that means you can see the presentation and the Q&A if you're wanting to type that in. So hopefully that's an easier screen for you. So we can see your questions, and what we will hope to do is to go through them by the end of this hour and try and answer them. But if we are unable to provide an answer for you during this evening, or if we experience any technical issues, I hope not, touch wood, we'll be able to put our responses together and put them on the questions section of the Your Voice webpage too. And if you're anything like me and you think, oh gosh, I've just remembered my question now, feel free to email us after this session, which is yourvoice@westyorks-ca.gov.uk, and we'll get that answer to you. Fabulous. Oh, and I should have said as well, sorry, I didn't introduce myself. Hello, I'm Rosie. I'm Rosie from the consultation team at the West Yorkshire Combined Authority. So I'm driving tonight, and with us we have some members of Bradford Council and also the team working on the engineering side of things. And without further ado, I shall introduce my colleague Matthew, who will be able to run through the proposals through these slides. And then once we've gone through the proposals, we'll be on to your questions and answers. So here we go. Matthew, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the sunshine as I am, where I am. And I will work through this as best we can, and you'll hear the classic term of next slide, please. The purpose of tonight is, like the other consultation sessions and various other sessions that we've had, is to gauge feedback and to seek your comments, and to also help explain the scheme and the proposals to you, because there may be some confusion or there may be some questions that you have. Please pop them in the Q&A, and we'll attempt to answer them either at the end or It will be difficult for me as I'm going along to see them, so hopefully my colleagues will be able to pick them up, and we'll have a Q&A session at the time. I'll make sure there's plenty of time after we go forward. Next slide, please. So, as I said, this is the fourth consultation that we've had. We've had 2 drop-in sessions, and we've had another webinar. What we're proposing to do, and fundamentally the purpose of this scheme, is to promote what we term alternate or multimodal forms of traffic: cycling, buses, walking, footways, other means. And the aspirations and hopes of this scheme is that by proposing improvements in the area that I will discuss, we can improve facilities so that people will consider leaving their car at home and seeking the bus or walking or cycling, and thus improving air quality, improving the reduction in noise. So as you can see from the slide before you, we're looking to offer a real alternative from car use, and our proposals intend to try and do that. If I can have the next slide, please. So just to confirm, the area that we're talking about is from Otley Road all the way down through Keighley Road, through Bradford Road, down Manningham Lane, past the Queen's Road junction, tying in with what we call the Hamstrasse junction to the south. This is the road primarily, along with the road that runs parallel, Canal Road, with it. So the 2 junctions on Otley Road that tie in both with Bradford Road and with Canal Road will be improved. What we are proposing to do is we have purchased the land on the corner of where the old pub used to be. Bradford City Council, I believe, now own this land, and the intention is to widen into that area to help improve facilities on that corner. I will to try and help. I'll talk about travelling into Bradford as southbound travel and travelling from Bradford northbound. So hopefully you can explain. It makes sense for each side of the road. So the intention in this area is to provide improved bus and cycle facilities. And the primary way that we're going to be doing this is to promote a bus lane that both travels northbound and southbound in various guises over lots of different lengths, and primarily allows the bus to travel a lot smoother and a lot improved on the northbound side and on the southbound side. You may have heard from previous consultation, there is an aspiration that this bus lane is a 24-hour bus lane enforced by what we call number plate recognition cameras. So it will be enforceable. For those that have been to other cities that have this type of information, you'll realise that should a vehicle that is not allowed in the bus lane enter, it will be automatically identified and penalised accordingly. Again, at this time, it is only an aspiration. It is only an idea that we have the bus lane at 24 hours. We're wanting your comments and your thoughts on this as to how long the bus lane should be. Should it only be a 12-hour bus lane, etc. One of the other things that we're looking to do to improve links to the existing cycle infrastructure, to improve links into Lister Park and various other areas, is proposing a 2-way or bidirectional cycleway that will run north on the northbound carriageway, so from Bradford all the way up to Shipley, with connecting links and routes at various junctions. The intention here is to provide a off carriageway, so a segregated bidirectional cycleway, so 2 of the cycles travelling in opposing directions, but they will be separate to the live carriageway. It is the intention, with an improved footway facility in the area as well. The intention here is to help and promote cycling through the area. One of the other main objectives of the scheme with promoting bus and cycle is to propose what we call a bus gate. Now, what this bus gate is located just before the northbound carriageway, or travelling north from Bradford to Shipley at the junction of Queen's Road. Queen's Road will also have a right turn ban from Queen's Road to Manningham Lane, in the same way that Otley Road will have a right turn ban into Manor Lane. The reasons for these is to help with traffic, help with movements and flows, and to improve facilities. The bus gate will mean that only a bus will be able to travel northbound from Manningham Lane through the bus gate to join Queen's Road. Any vehicle that isn't a cyclist or an emergency vehicle, because emergency vehicles are more than able to use a bus gate should they need to or should matters arise, then they will need to seek an alternative route. One of the suggestions would be that traffic would seek an alternative route, possibly down Canal Road. So, as part of some of the improvements to this, we are looking to introduce 2 lanes northbound, all within the current highway boundary. There will be no need to purchase anybody's front gardens or any land to do this. What we're looking to do is to take the existing footprint that we have, so what we call the existing highway or adoptable boundary, and introduce 2 lanes northbound. We're going to make Gainsby Lane one way, effectively one way down the hill to Canal Road as well. Again, this is to help with a cycle link coming off Stanley Road Junction, running around the back as a shared cycleway to help promote cycling in the area and promote up the hill to the new development. We will also look to include some facilities at Frizinghall Station, which includes such things as improved cycle shed facilities. So you'll be able to use these cycle facilities and know that you'll be able to safely and securely leave your bicycle at the station, because the improved lockable systems that are around have very effective results. So we're looking to impose things like that. So primarily, we're looking to promote by including a bus lane, both north and south. Any of the existing parking to the north, just off Otley Road, will remain on the southbound side of Keighley Road, and the 2 junctions on Otley Road and the junction with Valley Road will be improved to help with turning facilities. The link between on Otley Road will now have 3 lanes, but 2 of those lanes will travel from Canal Road Junction to Otley Road Junction. So that's technically travelling west, my apologies, from the junction. The small piece of Manor Lane in front of the primary school will be closed, so you will not be able to turn in this area. And the intention here is to help with the possibility that additional traffic may seek this alternative route. So fundamentally, this is what we're looking for your comments and your proposals on. We're looking to promote and improve bus, cycle, footway improvements, linking into the existing highway and cycling network that exists in the area, and to, again, ask the question of whether it's feasible for you to leave your vehicle at home and use these alternative methods of transport. Next slide, please. So, because we know that we need to improve bus and cycling facilities, we've taken what is called a survey, or a rational look, at all the side roads or connecting roads to Manningham Lane, Keighley Road, and Bradford Road. And we've decided that in some cases, we're going to apply or restrict access to and from Manningham Lane. So you'll see here on the slide, there is a list of the roads that are affected, and the arrows on the plans indicate that some roads will be made one way in certain directions and some will be in other. The rationale and reasoning for this is that we're looking to best promote the cycle route and the cycle route, the bus route and the cycle route. And we're looking to improve some of the side road connectivity. We're also trying to eliminate the suggestion of the term is rat running, where people seek alternate routes with their local knowledge to be able to either get in front of buses or to miss traffic. So this list of side roads here, again, this is our very first initial stage here. None of these are definitive. None of this is exactly what we're going to say. What we are suggesting is some of these roads will need to have their one way in a certain direction to help improve the flow and the improvements to the cycle lane and the bus lane. It improves the facilities, and by doing so, we also gain some benefits in other areas. Next slide, please. So, because of this bus gate, it is highly likely that vehicles will seek an alternative route. And what this plan is showing, and it is nothing more than a suggestion, the yellow route and the blue route that you see on the plan are two possible alternative routes that vehicles may choose to take. They are not the only routes. They are, as we have understood, and from the consultations that we've carried out, there are many ways to avoid and travel around the bus gate. The purpose here is that what will happen is we will carry out a series of assessments via traffic modelling to predict where the alternative traffic will flow, what junctions it will use, which roads it will use. And again, this plan is simply saying the yellow route and the blue route are two likely routes that vehicles will choose to take. And the blue route is up Canal Road. And again, this is why we're looking to promote 2 lanes northbound on Bradford to help with this situation. The right turn ban on Queen's Road from Manningham Lane will also suggest that people won't be able to simply rejoin at this location and turn back onto the junction. So this plan is simply to give you an indication of 2 possible routes that may take place as a result of what we're proposing on the scheme. They are by no means the only routes. Next slide. So that was a whistle-stop tour of the scheme. I hope I've left more than enough time so we can discuss and have some Q&A. But we encourage you through this consultation. Again, as I've said, this is our initial consultation. None of what I've talked about and none of what I'm suggesting is exactly what we're going to take forward. What we're trying to get your feedback on is the improvements that we're trying to make to cycling facilities, to bus facilities, and improve the situation here such that it is possible for people to consider leaving their car at home and seeking alternate methods of transport. The Your Voice page is available to read. There's been various leaflets. We've had various drop-in sites for people to come, and we've also considered lots of consultation at this time. So I strongly encourage you to look at what's on the Your Voice and fill in the survey. Without your comments, without your thoughts, and without your feedback, we do not know what's right or wrong. We are able to look at them and we are able to listen to what people are telling us about the feasibility of what we're trying to achieve. So I can't strongly encourage enough for people to fill in the survey, take the time to fill in the questionnaire, and hopefully they'll have a much better understanding of what we're trying to achieve here as a scheme. Okay. So at this moment, the consultation is open until 11:59, so I suppose that's midnight, on Sunday, the 18th of August. All the surveys, all the feedback from the consultations, all the feedback from the webinars will be correlated reports, and a survey results will be compiled. What people liked, what they didn't, what issues were raised, what people thought. And again, we're after initial comments here. I can't stress enough, and we've been saying it at all the consultations, this is our initial consultation with you about this scheme. Nothing that you see is definitive, nothing is already determined and agreed. And again, following on from that, there is a document called an outline business case where we will put a case forward that with a scheme that may change, from the scenarios and options that I've just talked about, and we will go forward again to seek further feedback and another further round of consultation moving forward. So now we're after initial comments, initial feedback and thoughts and designs for what people think of what we're proposing. Thank you very much for your time.
Lovely, thank you very much, Matthew. And yeah, I'll just end on something. I mean, you've probably seen the Your Voice page before, but there it is, and there's our QR code that can take you straight to the page. And you can see here, yes, it's yourvoice.westyorks-ca.gov.uk/Bradford Shipley. There so you can find more information on the survey. You can write to us as well, free post, so no stamp needed, so free post, consultation team, WYCA. You can call Metro line as well on the numbers on the screen there, and there's our email address as well. And yeah, if you can encourage your friends and family to get involved as well, that would be great. Maybe if you're social media savvy, which I'm not, to be honest, but if you are, yeah, can put some posts on there. That I would really appreciate that as well. So thank you so much. So what I'll do now is I'll stop sharing and we'll go over to the questions. So stop share there. Hopefully you can see us. There we go. Fabulous. I can see some questions in the Q&A box, so thank you so much for that. I'll start off then. If I'm all right to read these out, team, and then if you can answer them, that would be really helpful. Thank you. So I've got a question here. A couple of questions. Number one, how will large trucks navigate to Shipley from out of Bradford, i.e. deliveries to Asda Superstore in Shipley? Please consider that many trucks are over 15 foot 6 inches.
Apologies. Yes, I can answer that question. Manningham Lane is designated an abnormal load route and will remain so as part of this scheme. There will still be two-way flow along the scheme. We have been informed that larger vehicles do not travel between Hamstrasse and the Queen's Road Junction. They come from alternate routes to seek and turn onto Manningham Lane. They will still be able to do this. So with regards to any large vehicle or delivery vehicle travelling to the Asda, we are not proposing any changes that would significantly change its route unless it came from Queen's Road and wished to turn right onto Manningham Lane. Then it would no longer be able to do so. But larger vehicles can still travel up and down Manningham Road, Bradford Road in the same route as before, because the route is deemed an abnormal loads route. So we will be providing sufficient lane widths to allow these movements to come out. So in answer to that question, the truck will pretty much carry the same journey it does at the moment, unless it turns right at Manor Lane on Otley Road. But I'd be very surprised if the vehicle does that. So it will take its same route as it does at the moment. So it should remain marginally unaffected depending on its route and its traffic.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, and then next question. Is Norwood Terrace in Shipley planned for one way or stopped at the bottom? As if it became one way, how do you plan to alleviate more traffic onto Norwood Avenue? considering it's too narrow to allow two cars to pass at the same time?
Again, off the PowerPoint and the list, Norwood Terrace will receive access only from Bradford Road. So that means it's a one-way road from Bradford Road down Norwood Terrace. You will not be able to access Norwood Terrace and turn onto Bradford Road. That's the proposal. And again, at the moment, we don't know what the impact of these changes will be on additional traffic and whether vehicles will move. And again, at this time, we don't know that we've got all these side roads correct and the information correct as to which side roads should be one way or the other. So we will look to see what our modelling and our impacts and our assessments tell us. And there are many areas. The purpose is not just to alleviate traffic for turning the side roads around. The main purpose, and one of the purposes, is to help cyclists and the bus travel in its direction. So yes, Norwood is planned for one way, but it will only be one way from Bradford Road down in its case. And as I've said, at the moment, all of the side roads and all of these are nothing more than our first initial suggestion as to proposals for the scheme.
Thank you. And then, lovely, another question. Yes, why does it feel that traffic is pushed onto side streets and narrower roads and moved away from wider lanes, such as Manningham Lane?
Again, traffic isn't necessarily pushed away. You will still be able to travel both northbound and southbound along Manningham Lane. There will be nothing, you will still be able to carry that journey. So what we're hoping under this scheme is that people will feel that they don't wish to make that journey in their car anymore and that they wish to use alternate methods of transport, such as the bus or even cycle. So I don't know that we are pushing traffic onto side streets and narrower roads if we are still providing the same north and southbound travel for vehicles, of course, except for the bus gate. So that is, again, to help promote buses and to encourage them to travel. So I'm not 100% sure that that is the case, that we are pushing traffic onto side streets and narrower roads, when, as I've said earlier, people are still able to travel northbound and southbound for in southbound, they're not affected by the bus gate. So their route of travel could still be the same. So I'm not sure that that statement is strictly correct, but we'll know more when we've carried out an assessment and reviewed information.
It's probably just worth adding to that one real quick that general local traffic will travel as per current arrangement, but the intention is to restrict through traffic travelling from the city centre out to Shipley to reduce some of that demand on Manningham Lane. So it's not the side road that's expected to be impacted, it's the main through traffic we expect to be reduced. So it's just worth noting that.
Lovely, thank you for jumping in. Great. I'll move on to the next question about air quality. This one. Two ones actually. One that says, would more traffic near Shipley C of E school be irresponsible and cause more health issues for younger children? And then a similar-ish question just to follow, sorry, just to maybe put these two together. I understand you're promoting to use Canal Road instead of turning right on Manningham Lane. Would this not increase the pollution on Canal Road? The sort of air pollution, air quality questions there.
I'll start. Oh, sorry, Matthew.
No, please, Jodie.
Yeah, I'll start with this one and then please feel free to add into this. So as part of the all of the considerations that Matthew's talked about and the proposals for the scheme, when we come to actually submit the outline business case, which is the case put forward for the scheme as it is as now, part of that will include a full air quality assessment for all of the scheme areas, so all of the streets that are within the scheme boundary that we're looking at. So there will be a full assessment of what the impact on air quality, positive and negative, will be on the scheme, and that's ongoing at the moment. So whilst we don't have any results that we can share right now, it is one of the key considerations that we'll be doing as part of this scheme.
Lovely. That is one of the things, isn't it? Yeah, one of the aims and stuff. Yeah. Okay. So that's really important. At the school as well, that someone's mentioned. Yeah. So lovely. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Next question then. I am a resident living on Manningham Lane, specifically between Queen's Road and Oak Lane. Does that mean I have to look at other routes to get home?
Not necessarily. It depends upon which route you choose to take from Queen's Road to Oak Lane. I'm not sure of that, but there are always many routes and alternative routes to consider. If your normal journey is impacted by the bus gate, then yes, you will need to seek an alternate route. But apart from that, no, there shouldn't be much of a change to your route. It just depends upon which way you travel and how you do so. As I've said earlier, you'll still be able to travel along Manningham Lane and other areas as well. So I'm not 100% sure, without knowing exactly what the route would be, that unless you have to avoid the bus gate as part of your journey, you probably won't be affected too much by your travel.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Next question. The best way to offer an alternative to car use is to improve the bus service. The city centre developments have made bus travel worse, and cross-town travel isn't great. What will be done to improve the bus service?
As I said, we're looking to implement a bus lane that is only for bus services, and no one else will be able to attend. So the hope and intention of the scheme is to improve the journey time for buses and to improve, hopefully, the bus companies will realise that as journey times increase, and of course, as the aspiration of the scheme becomes true and more people wish to use the bus, that they may look, because they know that the journey times are improved, because more people are using the facilities, that we'll be able to see an increase in possibly either the number of buses that run or an improvement to the surrounding network as well, because they're able to connect into and utilise the existing bus services. Again, this is something that we have been in conversation and dialogue with them. We have their initial support for the scheme, and we'll know more as we carry on to exactly how much the bus services wish to improve the facilities in the area. But by having improved bus lanes, they will look to utilise that with improved bus stops and other facilities.
If I can just add to that as well, Matthew, and I don't want to speak for West Yorkshire Combined Authority or City of Bradford Council at all, but certainly when we're putting the business case together, we do take into account all of the policies and strategies and other actions and schemes that are out there. So, bus service improvement plans and transforming cities, all of the different plans and policies and schemes that are happening or in the pipeline, to make sure that we're not looking at this scheme in isolation. So what we hope is that this scheme, as well as encouraging bus operators and other public transport operators, train operating companies, etc., to encourage them to increase numbers and improve frequencies, etc. Hopefully what this scheme will do is also complement other things that are going on in the area and create, you know, some sort of catalyst in terms of what can be planned for the future, as well as, you know, in the short term as a result of this scheme.
Okay, thank you. Lovely, thank you. Okay, next question. Great that you are promoting active travel and leaving the car at home. What links are proposed with the existing cycleway along Bradford Beck Canal Road?
This is something that we need to look at as part of the scheme and the surrounding network. We need to figure out the best way that we can include our scheme and tie them in. So one of the improvements, obviously, is that we intend to improve the Bradford Beck and improve there. The link further up at Gainsbury Lane will also help and improve because it will be easy to cross there. We're also looking to utilise some of the side roads, such as Cunliffe Road and others that already we can tie into. So at the moment, we are only really looking at the best way to link into the existing highway network. We have to figure out the best way to do that. And as yet, we don't have all the answers. That's why we're looking for comment and guidance from other people. So it's difficult to say, but yes, we are looking to tie in to the Beck and to Canal Road as part of the scheme. But at the moment, I couldn't tell you 100% how we hope to do that. But we will consider all that going forward. And if anyone's got the right ideas or some really good ideas as to how we could do that, please jot them down in the survey and please let us know. Because the whole point of the consultation is to gain feedback from the people that believe that they use these routes and would probably know the best way to link up.
And as part of the business case that we're putting in again, we do look at what the existing situation, the existing networks, so what cycleways, whether there's any national cycle networks that we can link into, and also where people, as much as possible, we can, cycle counts, how many people are using those routes at the moment, and as Matthew said, what we can do in terms of connecting into some of those existing cycleways and also improving the links from key services and key accessibility points of education, etc. as well. So it does all form part of the business case that we're putting in. But again, as as Matthew has already stressed, this is early consultation. Things will change. We're looking for your views in order to take it forward, because as much as what we can look at on paper, it's hearing from local people that will really add and contribute to the value of the scheme that we eventually hope to take forward.
Lovely, thank you. Yes, moving on to the next question. Is the point that there is not enough space at the Manningham Lane junction to deliver improvements without the bus gate? Or is it more that removing cars will improve existing bus flows?
It's more that removing cars will improve existing bus flows. We do have sufficient space within what we call the highway boundary to carry out these works, but it's not that there's a lack of space. It's more that we are hoping that removing cars and the implementation of the bus gate will improve existing bus flows.
Interesting, thank you. Next one. I think this doesn't take account of changing behaviours in home deliveries, which I think will be chaotic with the changes to Manningham especially. Yeah, Manningham Lane, probably that, yeah.
I'm not sure there's a direct question there, but thank you very much for the comments. They're duly noted and appreciated and will form part of the survey.
This next one is in relation of a question from before. Apologies, we'll tack on this one about the trucks. So many trucks turn right from Queen's Road onto Manningham Lane. This is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so this person has noticed many trucks do turn right from Queen's Road onto Manningham Lane.
Okay, thank you for clarification on that. As I said, at this initial stage, we are simply looking to remove that right turn, and surely a vehicle knowing this will seek an alternate route from its location or to where it's heading. So I'm not sure that there is a right or a wrong scenario here. It's just more a case of we are aware of what we're trying to achieve with our right turn ban, and we are aware that it will impact vehicular traffic. So let's take that information away. Let's look at the impact via study and via possible local knowledge and survey, and then we'll see whether it is the right thing to propose a right turn ban. As I've said, and we've said all the consultations, this is our initial stage review. We're only looking for initial comments, and we understand the concerns raised here regarding the right turn. So thank you very much.
But again, just to clarify from a strategic perspective, the intention of the bus gate and banning that right turn from Queen's Road onto Manningham Lane is to reduce the northbound traffic coming out of town. So reduce the through traffic flows and ultimately open up the space for buses, etc. And the expectation is that those vehicles and the vehicles travelling out of town will generally and largely divert by the Canal Road and then go back up to Manningham Lane via Otley Road through Valley Parade Junction. So, that's the strategic sort of reason for making that right turn restriction.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Okay, next question. Has an equality impact assessment been done on the current proposals, and have city centre businesses been consulted about the reduced travel options into the centre / impact on shops?
I can answer the first part of the question. The equality impact assessment was done. The first stage of it was done very early on in this process, and is obviously then considered throughout all of the stages that we've been going through, and will form part of the business case submission that we put in as well. I will stress it is in draft form right now because it's forever evolving as it does through the scheme, as many of the different appraisals and assessments and considerations that we have do continue to evolve depending on how the scheme changes as we go forward. But if someone else could answer the businesses consultation, that would be great.
I know there was some consultation done with, I can't remember if it was city centre businesses, so I will need to check that. But I believe for the Manningham Lane ones, was it sort of Christmas time? But
there was some initial engagement, with
yeah,
businesses just to get the general feel for the use and the nature of travel in the area. I don't think it was specifically focused around the equality, but it's something like Jodie says will be taken into consideration.
Yeah, absolutely, because there are lots of businesses, aren't there, operating sort of city centre and up those routes as well. So that is very important to get their feedback as well. Yeah, thank you.
And like I say, reduction in general traffic doesn't necessarily mean reduced travel options. Like we're trying to open it up to broader sort of usage by encouraging, or providing better pedestrian facilities, better crossing points across Manningham Lane, better connectivity, safer routes, and again, improve bus travel.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next one. I live in between Queen's Road and Parkfield Road. I also own a care home in between these roads. Have the care homes been taken into consideration, as this will significantly reduce the recruitment process of staff if vehicle travel is made harder? This also includes visitors and my staff.
Yes, as part of what we are considering, we will take a look at the consideration of every person, thing, shops, developments, and care homes and various in the area. We will look at the impact and we will consider their concerns and their needs. The best thing that we can receive is comment and feedback as to how, and such as we've seen here. So that's great. Thank you. But yes, we do. We consider a lot of people in this area. And again, it is only at the initial stage that we are considering various, and we are very aware of the impact of what we are proposing and what the one possible impact could be on local traffic and residents and people who live in the area. So yes, we have taken into consideration all the surrounding area and what is within Manningham Lane and the areas around.
Thank you. Okay. Manningham Lane is one of the main roads in Bradford and would inconvenience a lot of local residents. Are you aware of the impact this would have on residents and people who travel through Bradford?
I think we have an understanding, and then that is why we go to consultation, because we welcome your comments to explain what we haven't quite got right, where the direct impacts will be, which roads will be impacted, and how it will be inconvenienced. Will there be issues for you? So yes, we are aware that there will be inconvenience to local residents, but we are trying to improve not an alternate method of transport, but we're trying to encourage people to leave their cars at home and seek alternate travel. So yeah, we are aware that there will be impact, but the more comments and the more surveys that we fill in, the more that people tell us where these concerns are, the better we'll be able to understand whether what we're proposing is right or wrong for side roads and other roads and link roads, etc. So yes, thank you.
Okay, cycling here. On the issue of cycling, to say there will be secure cycling storage at the station is utopian. There will never be enough storage to affect traffic into the city. Only a linked bus service could do this. And cyclists must be allowed to bring their bikes onto the trains for travelling on in either direction.
Let's hope that's the case. I don't know whether you can or cannot take your bike onto the train, but surely any improvement in storage or any improvement in cycle facilities at the station must be a bonus for those that who will use them. So yes, thank you for your comments again.
Thank you. Here we go. So if Norwood Terrace became one way, how do you leave? Assuming you have to travel up one of the other streets. So this is for Norwood Terrace.
Yes, if you are not able to access the A650 from Bradford Road, so you won't turn right onto Bradford Road, yes, you will need to find an alternative route for your travel. I understand that the surrounding network there are routes available, and I'm not sure because most local traffic tends to find its own route, but there are, in the case of most of the side roads, if not all of where we're proposing to alter side roads, alternative routes, other routes that residents and other traffic can use to travel. I don't know the specifics of the route because there are more than one possible scenario. So I understand that Norwood Terrace is not, we're not intending any roads that do not have links or access to them so that they're only made one way, so no cul-de-sacs or whatever will be turned. So yes, you will need to just simply find an alternate route. And I'm afraid I don't know what that route will be. I hope that we get the response that someone tells me what the correct route should be and the implication, whether the roads are wide enough or not, so we can then take those comments forward.
I think the concern here is obviously if you turn one of the side roads one way, it's only going to push traffic onto the other side roads that are adjacent to it. Yeah. So it is something that we need to assess in more detail and see what the exact sort of movements are, and if we are restricting some of the side roads to one way, then what impact that will have on other side roads. But like Matthew alluded to earlier, that none of this is set in stone, and this is the feedback that we need to take and consider when, you know, assessing what are the best sort of solutions for the area that will improve bus movement and provisions and safety on Manningham Lane whilst not having a detrimental impact on side roads. But I completely understand where this question is coming from here with regards to Norwood Terrace. We'll take that away and look at it.
Lovely, yes, please. Thank you. Okay, next one. Will there be more buses? Frequency on routes?
We hope so. It's an aspiration if that's the hope, that the bus service will improve in the area.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you. What analysis has been done on the effect on local businesses on introducing a bus gate?
Sorry, no, please.
No, I was looking for the unmute button. So as I said, we will be undertaking this analysis to see how the traffic is likely to travel once the bus gate and the scheme is modeled. But the idea of the bus gate is not to affect local traffic. It's to try and reroute through traffic traveling through the Manningham Lane to Canal Road and other alternatives. So we're trying to keep the impact for local traffic minimum.
Yeah, and in terms of the assessment, I suppose at this early stages, what we've done so far is the engagement with local businesses at a very high level, just to understand what the local habits are, how it's getting used, where people park, how, you know, what the frequent use of those businesses is by members of public, etc. So it was just gathering the initial feedback, and one of the sort of main concerns has been highlighted is the potential restrictions to parking provisions. So we've done an assessment throughout the route in terms of the parking arrangements and loading requirements, and if bus lanes were provided, what alternative measures could be implemented to mitigate the impact. But this is the early stages of assessment, and we will do further engagement and see what needs to be done to mitigate any adverse impact.
Thank you. There are 2 care homes in between Queen's Road and Parkfield Road that are reliant on vehicle access, so visitors, staff, suppliers. Okay, so yes, that does sound obviously important, yeah, to look at that. So yeah, 2 care homes in between Queen's Road and Parkfield Road. Okay. So not a question, but yeah, definitely something that we need to consider, as with everything else, I guess, isn't it? Yeah. Good, thank you. How will you assess whether closing a portion of Manningham Lane, the bus gate, will reduce traffic or push it onto the side roads?
So here again, when we undertake the assessment, we would model the closure, or not the closure, the bus gate into the model, which will then predict potential diversion routes. It will tell us if the traffic is trying to go through the other major routes like Canal Road, or it's going to use any side roads. That is how we'll identify it. But again, like we're trying to say here, we do want to know what your comments or your views are. So please do let us know, and we'll definitely take them into consideration.
Thank you. 3 more minutes. Let's see how many more we can get through. Thank you. So Next one. Yes, so the restrictions from the city centre to Shipley would mean you divert through a side street towards Lum Lane. That might be in relation to a previously asked question. Yeah.
This is similar to one of the previous ones. So we don't know how there will be multiple routes traffic is likely to take, and our assessment will include to see what impacts will affect on all these roads. It could be very likely that they could use Lum Lane as an alternative, but we at the moment can't ascertain. We are in the process of undertaking the assessment. Again, if you think that is a likely alternative, please do let us know, and we will again take your views into consideration.
Thank you. And then, thanks for answering the questions. Oh, lovely. Well, thank you. That's nice. Will allowing taxis to use the bus gate be all taxis, including private hire?
This is to be determined at this time. It depends upon the aspiration of the bus gate, but I understand that in some cases bus gates do not allow taxis, and in some cases they are. I don't think a definitive answer has been made on this yet as to the exact nature of whether a taxi will be allowed through the bus gate. It's something that we will consider and think about moving forward. So at the moment, we would consider both scenarios where a taxi could and couldn't. So because we're at such an early stage of the scheme, we would be able to look at our comments and responses and decide whether we do feel that there is a need to allow taxis through, or whether we feel there is a perfectly acceptable alternative route for a taxi, and in this case the bus gate wouldn't. At the moment we don't have a definitive answer to that question, so it's a definite maybe.
Thank you. And just to say, yes, it is 7 o'clock, so people, you know, if your time has gone off for your tea and you need to drop off, of course that's fine. We'll pop this recording on afterwards, and then these questions that we've not picked up, so apologies we've not been able to get through them all, and what we'll do is we'll answer them and pop it onto the Your Voice page. I think that'll be the best way to get those answers to you. But if we're all right to stay on for a couple more questions, maybe, if that's all right. Well, thank you. Okay, next one. There is no point in encouraging people to travel by bus when services are reduced in evenings. It's not practicable for a nighttime economy to have reduced services in evenings.
Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry.
No, I was going to say the only thing that was worth noting on that one is that we have undertaken multiple engagement with local bus operators, including First and other ones, and they will look at improving the provisions once they're better bus lanes, and again the whole idea of the scheme is to improve sustainable travel, which includes buses. So with better bus lanes they will be able to provide better service, so that would be expected to be improved if the scheme was to go ahead.
I think as well on that, I would say that I think we have to remember that we shouldn't be viewing this scheme in isolation. I keep going back to it, but you know, we do look at what's going on in the wider area, local transport plans, bus service improvement plans, etc. And you know, what's planned for the next 2, 5, 10 years within Bradford. And what we hope is that with a scheme like this, it does, and with involving bus operators and other key stakeholders, that it does encourage them to come along with us and to, you know, encourage them to look at improving services if we can improve that journey and that reliability, and, you know, hope to increase passenger numbers, and that will be a catalyst to lead to much bigger things. But again, just going back to the fact that whilst we are working on this particular scheme, we're not just blinkered to this particular scheme. We are hoping it will provide something much bigger for the wider area as well.
Thank you. And oh yeah, I just want to keep going. Can I ask another one? What are you doing about Midland Road?
I'm a little unsure of the question. Midland Road is off the Queens Road Junction, and obviously, if that's my understanding of Midland Road, then Dimitri, do you want to?
Yeah, no, you're right. So it's the road that connects onto Queens Road on the approach to Queens Road Junction, but there's no proposals currently for that area.
Yeah, okay. And then, can I ask this one as well, please? How would I drop off my child to school on Clifton Street?
I can answer that if you want, Matthew. So I think if you're coming from the city center, there wouldn't be any change because you wouldn't be affected by the bus gate. So if you're coming from the south city center, you would probably come along A650 and turn right into Clifton Street. If you're coming from the north, you'd still be able to come through Queens Road Junction and then turn left into Clifton Street. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you. I think we've run out of time. Apologies, but thank you so much for all your questions and for joining us this evening. Really do appreciate it.
Can I just be a bit rude and break the rules for a second and just make a general comment, if that's okay? Because I have been following some of the questions as we go through, and there is something that I'd just like to say, if that's okay. What I am noticing through some of the questions is I think there's a little concern that we may take, you know, sort of the views of maybe businesses over residents, or, you know, certain users over others, types of users, cars, buses, whatever. And I just wanted to make the point and hopefully reassure people that everybody's view matters, and we take everybody's comments into account. And please don't be disheartened or feel that you shouldn't make a comment because we're not going to consider it. We're going to absolutely consider every single comment, whether you're a resident, business owner, visitor, whatever you are to Bradford, it doesn't matter. We do want to take your comments on board. And, you know, as hopefully we've tried to get across tonight that, you know, whilst we can do what we can do as engineers and as designers and business case, you know, people, it's the views of local people who use these roads that are really, really important. And you know, we do want to do the best we can for all users and make sure that it's accessible as possible for everyone. So I just wanted to stress the point that please put your points across in whatever way you feel comfortable, because we will take them on board. And apologies again for breaking your rules, Rosie. I will mute myself now.
Not at all. No, I think that's a really good point to make, and a really good point to end on as well. So I think that's wrapped up this session nicely. So thank you everybody again, and still keep in touch. You've got that email address to get in touch with us, and I can see there's other questions on that we have on here, so we'll get back to you on those ones. But yeah, thank you so much. Go have your tea, enjoy the rest of your evening. Make sure you fill out that survey if you haven't done so already. But thank you ever so much, everybody. All right, I'll say good night. Thanks, everyone.